A couple of days ago, I received a Dhamma talk that I'd done at the Abhayagiri Buddhist Society. That was just sent as a finished, edited thing with a Q&A, and I gave it to Ajahn and I said, "Can you post this?" And the next day, he said, "What do you want the title to be?" I said, I can't remember it. Have you listened to it?" He said, "No." I thought, okay, well, I'll try to get around to it. And then the next day, I asked him, I'm not sure what that should be. Have you listened to it? And I noticed one of these things that's very easy for us to just pass by. And if we're not observing our own minds, our own behaviors, our motivations for doing things, we can just see, all right, this is pretty obvious what's going on. I'm just feeling lazy and just mentioning this to Ajahn, who has a lot of work to do. And in the meantime, picked up another project that I actually really do need help with. And so just watching that and thinking, okay, I need to get this done. And that inclination just to not do it or to see if somebody else has done it, and how easy it is to kind of gloss it over, not really look at it very carefully and just kind of, schlep off our stuff onto another person, but not see how just through subtle speech that's coming across, and we might not actually see our own defilement in that way. We might not see our own tendency towards just wanting to be lazy or, just wanting to not have to do some particular work. And so if we're not aware of that, then we can see that this is impinging on others, and we're also not seeing within ourselves that this is something that's going to arrest our development in the Dhamma. When we don't see okay, these are just these desires that come up and we just kind of throw them away, or we put them on somebody else, or we just disguise them in some other form. And so we're always trying to be aware of, when it is that we need to, for example, take up responsibility for something and just say, I'll just do this. And on the other extreme, we might do that too much. So people might offer us help and say, no, I can do it myself. And so that becomes our line, no, I can do it myself. And then, sadly enough, people stop offering us help, and then we can get burned out by that very notion. Why am I always doing everything by myself? Because we possibly created that atmosphere around us where nobody really wants to offer help anymore because we're just refusing it. And so both tendencies need to be really watched very carefully to see what's appropriate for us to just say, I can do that myself. That's something easily I can do, or no, this is something that I actually really need help with. And so we're constantly kind of being aware of that and working with that. What's really the appropriate sense or the amount that we're taking care of ourselves, and then we are taking up that offer from another person to help us. And that happens a lot. And one of the things that can be helpful to reflect on, especially with taking up an offer from another, is when we see that, maybe this person wants to help and this is something that will increase their generosity. And so rather just seeing it as something that we're independent and we don't want to have to impinge on another person, if they're genuinely wanting to help and they're going to be happy through that help, then that's something very caring that we can do. We can put aside our own need for independence and our own sort of sense of needing to I only take care of myself kind of thing. And we say, no, I'll let somebody help me because that will be very good for them. That will buoy them up. That will make them feel very happy. And of course, the same is true on the other side. When we tend to put things off on other people, then when we decide not to do that, then that can alleviate a burden on others that maybe have too much or maybe don't want to help as well. So we don't want to sort of force ourselves on others either. So both of these kind of pathways are good to look at within our own behavior and to see when it is we're doing something more out of our own greed, hatred, and delusion, and when we're doing something out of sort of the appropriate measure.